I'm Lady Charmaine, and my guest today burst on the scene as part of the HAVES and Tyler Perry's hit series, The Haves and the Have-Nots. And she's here today to talk about Season 3 and tonight's most anticipated season finale. Help me welcome Miss Renee Lawless, who plays the role of the rich Haves, Miss Katherine Cryer. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
So glad you're able to join me on the show today.
Great to be here. Excited to be here.
Yeah, now, I was going to say Miss Katherine from the television show.
You know what everybody else does. I think I turn my head on Katherine just as much as I do Renee.
Well, since you're my friend, Renee, we're going to give the audience just a little bit of background about you, because I learned that you're just not new on the scene, that you've been in theater for quite some time because you actually majored in vocal performance and you've actually been on Broadway. So let's talk about that a little bit. So how long have you actually been an actress?
Oh, good Lord. I acted my way out of the womb. I think, our country's a little messed up sometimes. I think because they see somebody new on TV, they think they just have an overnight success. Now, I've been hoofing it for a long time. I was an undergraduate voice and theater major. My master's is in voice from Cincinnati Conservatory of Music. When I got out, I thought I was going to be an opera singer for many, many years. And then I realized musical theater was really where, and acting was always where my heart lied, but I had a voice. So I thought a stepping stone would be a musical theater. So I lived in New York for many years. I worked on Broadway in Disney's Beauty and the Beast, as well as the Broadway National Tour. I also did regional theater all over the country, as well as a couple of other national tours, the last of which was Wicked. I was on the Broadway National Tour of Wicked for 5 years.
Wow.
Actually, it was just before I was ready to leave Wicked and go back and be unemployed in New York and start all over again when I found out about the audition for the Have and Have-Nots. Now, I had done some independent projects and a sitcom and some things like that, but and that's stuff that unless you followed that genre, you would know.
So you found out about the audition for the Haves and the Have-Nots, and obviously you nailed it. What role were you going out for? Were you going out for the role of Miss Cryer?
Oh, absolutely. I found it on an Actors Access, an acting database website, and before I even knew it was Tyler Perry, all I saw was the description of Katherine. And I was actually playing Vegas. Wicked was in Vegas. I was in bed one night. It's going online because I was getting ready to give notice. And I saw it, and I sat up in bed. I was like, oh, my goodness, I know this woman. I know this woman. I have to be this woman. It literally was that visceral. I felt like I am this woman. Now, I'm not like Katherine at all, but there was just something inside me that knew her on every fiber of my being. I said, I have to play this person. And so I clicked on it and saw that it was Tyler Perry, and I almost hit delete. I thought, oh, no, he's never going to call me. I'm just some chick with a theater background, not realizing he is a massive lover of all things theater, has a great appreciation for it. And I thought, I just didn't think I'd get the audition. I don't know why. I almost hit delete, and I thought, you know what? No risk, no gain. You have nothing to lose. And I didn't tell my people. I did it on my own. I didn't even tell my people. I submitted myself. And, the rest of it was in God's hands, and he took control,
Now, Renee, what was it about this Katherine character that actually resonated with you?
She was a strong Southern woman. Well, I grew up in the South. I'm from Tennessee, and then I was raised in Florida. But still, my roots are deep. And it was just, it was her strength amidst all of her insecurities. I think it was a combination of the two that I related to. It was that putting on the facade for the public, but really being conflicted behind closed doors and to be troubled, and everything wasn't as perfect as it seemed. That's what really spoke to me.
Interesting. If you're just tuning in, we are talking to Renee Lawson. She plays the role of Katherine Cryer on Tyler Perry's hit series, The Haves and the Have-Nots, and we're talking about tonight's season finale, the much anticipated season finale. Now, what was it like for you to know that you were going to be working with the very handsome John Schneider, the former Dukes of Hazzards?
Well, I was when I got the call back, this is how it all happened. When I got the call back, I walked into this room, and all of a sudden, I see a room filled of a lot of people that I admired in this industry. Not just, and I didn't see John at first. And I had heard a rumor that he was there, but at the time I don't remember. Part of me doesn't even know if I even really realized that he was going to be there. But there were some other people up for the role of Jim that I did admire. And I was like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And it just so happened, without going into all the details, they had kind of grouped us all together, and I was just trying to find someone to run lines with. And I had asked 2 other gentlemen, which will remain nameless, and to run lines, and they said, no, we're okay, we're fine. And John was saying, yeah, let's run this. And after we did, he said, that's all he said. So what are you doing? And so John and I started getting to know each other. He found out I was a theater person. He was a theater person. We hit it off. So before we ever walked in the room, John and I we had run lines together. We had built this amazing rapport. So by the time we walked in the room, we were set, and so I felt like, I kept wondering, what if those other people had decided to read lines with me, and I'm thinking, so I just knew that this guy was, instantly, and I went, he's got to be Jim. He's got to be Jim. And so when I finally got the job, everyone's like, oh my goodness, you get to kiss John Schneider. Clearly, they did not understand the show.
That's not happening.
The last, maybe a peck on the cheek, but that's about it you're going to get with John and Katherine. But John has actually become a very dear and much loved friend, and he's like my brother now. So we have an amazing time together, and I think the reason that our love-hate volatile lifestyle on screen is so believable is because we get along so well off camera.
Okay.
It's fun. We have fun, and he knows how to push Renee's buttons to get Katherine to go crazy and vice versa.
Yeah, and
so
speaking of that,
it really works.
And I was going to say, and speaking of that, Renee, this season has been full of emotional roller coasters, to say the least.
Oh, good Lord, yes.
Especially for your character, who thought that she had lost her last living child. Her husband is in jail. And Renee, how did you prepare for this emotional 3rd season? Fortunately,
a lot of the prep was done for me because it was our 4th season. In that I've already invested, and I know who she is so well, that just being in a scene with these amazing actors makes my job easier, just to stay present and stay real and true to the amazing dialogue that Tyler Perry had written. Now, a side note to that, during the filming of this last season, my mother was gravely ill and dying.
Oh, no.
Now, did I bring that to the show every day to film? No, absolutely not. They're 2 separate things. But I was able to kind of experience in my mind, I was trying to imagine what my life was going to be like alone. It wasn't literally feeling the death of my children or the death of that, but I was at that time able to tap into what I could potentially feel like once I was parentless. Now, my mother rallied and she didn't pass away for many months, for several months after that. My mother did pass away last year, but long after the fact. But what I'm saying is, it didn't matter if that had been going on in my life at all. I've had enough stuff. But I think the key thing I want to bring to you is that once you're invested in a character and you stay present in her, and after I had already gone through what I had gone through with the loss of my daughter, I could draw on any number of things, and just saying, what would it be like to lose the last living thing you really love? And that was pretty much my prep, was just trying to be real and available to what I could bring to the plate, you know.
And, you know, you answered that so poignant. The reason why, because I was going to ask you, when you found out that your son had died, when the detective came to your home, you went there. And that's the one thing I love about Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry allows his actors to go there and to draw that out, because you had such real emotion as a mother who had lost her son. It wasn't just like, oh, a couple of tears. You went there. You saw all of the emotion. You saw the pain in your face. And that was going to be my question. What place did you go to in your mind? And of course, you had to imagine if that was, you know, your mom, because all of that came out in that one scene.
Right. Also, what goes through is, I guess the best way to say I prep for that is that leading up to that moment, she was, Katherine suspected that this potentially could happen. And she was avoiding feeling it. She knew he's gonna die. You know, it's kind of like when you think something's gonna happen, but it's not real until it does.
Right.
And more of the anticipation was me denying or anticipating it could happen, but hoping it didn't happen. So when someone finally says, so it was kind of like me putting the brakes on in my emotions for weeks. My anger, my crying, my rage, all of that, whether it was rage or whether it was sadness, it doesn't matter. When you clamp down on your emotions and you suppress them for day after day after day, and then someone says, well, you were right, you have nowhere to go but to release it. And it doesn't matter what emotion that is.
Wow.
You know, think of a woman who's been, you know, any woman suppressed. When they erupt, it's just going to come out in a Vesuvius. And that actually was, I don't want to use the word easy because there's always work involved, but to just keep myself leading up to that day, suppressing everything, gave me permission that when it didn't need to be suppressed, to just, it was almost like breathing, taking a big breath, but instead of breathing, it was more of a gas valve.
You exploded.
Exploded. Yeah. I exploded.
Yeah, you did. So, Renee, can you give us a sneak peek in what we can expect to see tonight?
Oh, well, I think the trailers have given us a little idea that Katherine clearly finds out something went on. She finds out that, I'm just going by what you've seen in the trailers, Katherine finds out that Jim's been hiding a lot. And I think she's put two and two together that Veronica had something to do with it. And Katherine is a little reactionary, but she's also calculating. So I think she's going to spin a web. I would say look for a web, and, you know, a web before the spider strikes kind of thing.
Interesting.
And I think that's what you're going to see tonight. You're going to see a bait and hook.
Because that Veronica is a cold piece. That Veronica.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. But I think, I could be wrong, but I think you're going to see some ice crack. I think you're going to see the Ice Queen show something that you haven't seen in her in a while.
What you going to do? Just tell us. Ain't nobody listening. Just me and you, Renee. It's just me and you.
No, yeah, me and you and all of your millions of listeners out there. Yeah,
I was trying to get it out of you.
Now, I asked you, if I were to tell you what's going to happen, that would just ruin it for you, because you would go, oh, really? And then I'm like, yeah, let's see if you just waited, all would have been explained.
Okay, I'm going to let you slide, and I'll just tune in tonight. For those of you who are just tuning in, we are talking to Renee Lawson. She stars as Katherine Cryer.
Lawless.
Renee Lawless. She stars as Katherine Cryer in Tyler Perry's hit show, The Haves and the Have-Nots. Now, you know, Renee, I read a little something about you that you are starting a video blog series called Renee's Way or The Highway. Tell us about that.
Yes, it's kind of been in the ether, for lack of better words, for the last several years. I had was going to start this roughly 5-6 years ago while on Wicked about my travels and opinions and stuff. And when I got Have and Have Nots, it just I never had a minute to materialize this thing. Well, now it's become bigger, and it's going to be right now we're still doing pre-production stuff, so I don't want to call it a web series blog. It's going to be like a YouTube type channel series, but and then eventually some books are going to come out of it. But it's Renee's Way or the Highway is going to be my opinion on a number of things, but it will also encompass a whole line of DIY projects, whether it be Christmas, crafting, and stuff like that. It's going to incorporate, since I've been on Hallmark Home and Family so much, I've had a lot of my fans go, we would like to see more crafts from you, and it's something that I'm passionate about, especially at Christmas time, that I'm going to incorporate that in a whole series of Christmas things on the side, as well as tips on travel, opinions about travel, as well as just opinions about things in life. Whereas, with my opinion, I'm being unapologetic for it. If you don't like it, this is my opinion, I'm not going to speak about politics or anything like that. I'm not going there. But it's going to be, basically, I have a thing about women in white pants. So I have a very strong opinion about that. And I have about who should and who shouldn't wear them. And if you do wear them, how you should wear them. And so it's things, kind of tongue-in-cheek.
Right.
And right now, I'm getting the spaces together and the chapters aligned, and hopefully to be fully going strong mid to end of October. But that's a question mark right now. But it is coming. It is going to happen. It's no longer on the back burner. It is an actual going forward project.
Okay, so it's in motion. Well, Renee, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure having you today. Really enjoyed you.
Great to talk to you. Great.
I want to remind the audience to make sure that you be sure to tune in tonight to Tyler Perry. The Haves and the Have-Nots tonight, 9/8 Central on OWN. We were just talking to Miss Renee Lawless. She stars as Katherine Cryer. She is a part of the Haves. So again, I look forward to having you on the show so we can talk about next season.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, y'all are just going to love tonight. What will Katherine Cryer do?
We'll find out. So she wouldn't give us the scoop, y'all. I guess we have to watch tonight, 9/8 Central on OWN. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Good talking to you, sweetie. Bye-bye.
You're listening to the livest show in Sacramento. Lady Charmaine live on 97.5 KDEE.
You're watching a Rich Girl Dreams production.